By now, all viewers of Game of Thrones know the truth about Jon Snow's lineage. Initially thought to be the bastard son of Ned Stark, it's since been revealed that Jon is actually Aegon Targaryen, and as such is the rightful heir to the Iron Throne. It had been widely believed that Rhaegar Targaryen, mad with lust, had abducted Lyanna Stark and sealed her away in Dorne, repeatedly sexually assaulting her until she eventually died in childbirth. Even when the truth of Jon's birth was unveiled to Bran Stark, he couldn't have known that in fact Rhaegar had annulled his previous marriage to Elia Martell and legally married Lyanna in secret, and the two had actually been in love. It took Samwell Tarly's lover, Gilly, absent-mindedly flipping through old scrolls in the Citadel to uncover this long-hidden truth. So Jon Snow is, arguably, the one person with the most justifiable claim to the throne of the Seven Kingdoms. But is it a position he'd ever aspire to, much less want? He'd certainly take it if there were no other choice, but overall, it's highly probable that Jon Snow would have no interest in being king, and would likely cede power to someone more desiring of the throne. Someone like Daenerys Targaryen, perhaps. Jon Snow has never been portrayed as someone with any lust for, or even interest in, power. Believing himself to be a bastard all his life, he would never have considered it to be something available to him to begin with. In Westeros, bastards have no claim to their father's land or title. In fact, bastards were typically segregated from a nobleman's true-born children, making the fact that Jon Snow was raised by Ned alongside the other Stark children a very rare thing. Bastards in Westeros were usually destined to join the Night's Watch, and indeed, that seemed to be what Jon believed was in store for him as well. When his uncle Benjen, himself a sworn member of the Night's Watch, visited Winterfell in the first season, Jon expressed his interest in joining, and wasn't dissuaded in the slightest by Benjen's warning that it was a hard life. During his time at Castle Black, Jon Snow more than acquitted himself, earning the respect of both the Lord Commander Jeor Mormont, as well as most of his brothers, the one notable exception being the Master-at-Arms Alliser Thorne. Following Lord Commander Mormont's death, Jon was elected to be the new Lord Commander, but he never seemed completely comfortable in the role. After his betrayal and murder by his sworn brothers, he abandoned the Night's Watch completely, saying,
"My watch is ended."
Jon isn't lacking in ambition, but his motivation has never been for an increase in status, power, or even for legitimization from his status as a bastard, something Stannis Baratheon offered him and Jon refused. Jon's guiding force since first encountering the Night King has been only to ensure the survival of humanity. Even after being proclaimed King in the North by his northern brethren,
I don't care if he's a bastard. Ned Stark's blood runs through his veins. He's my king, from this day until his last day.
He seemed all too eager to turn over his rule to his sister Sansa so that he could broker an agreement with Daenerys Targaryen, eventually proclaiming her to be his queen. Should Daenerys discover the truth about his parentage, there will no doubt be tension between them, but it's extremely likely that Jon would be more than willing to cede the power to her. After all, he's already pled fealty to her. Jon Snow is an honorable man, but he's never been portrayed as one with a lust for power. He may be the rightful heir to the Iron Throne, but in all likelihood, Jon would accept that role only grudgingly, if at all. Learn more about Jon Snow at Game of Thrones Wiki.